The 501st Imperial Legion was a legion of stormtroopers that primarily served Darth Vader during the reign of the Empire and the Galactic Civil War. Those that are familiar with the Clone Wars will likely notice that the 501st Legion was also the designation for a legion of clone troopers that fought under General Anakin Skywalker during that very same conflict. When the Galactic Republic became the Galactic Empire, the 501st Legion became an integral part of the Imperial military. This legion was primarily seen following Darth Vader into battle and was described by some to be Darth Vader's personal legion. However, this was actually not the case for most of the time that the Empire existed. In fact, Darth Vader and the Emperor felt that there needed to be more distance between them and the Anakin Skywalker persona. Darth Vader did not want to be involved with something that had been so closely associated with Anakin during the Clone Wars. Therefore, Vader used the 501st Legion sparingly throughout most of the Empire's reign. However, there was a caveat to this. Darth Vader did have his own personal legion, called the First Legion. The 501st Legion was of course renowned for its combat capabilities. The Legion was made up of elite stormtroopers and was considered to be the best of the best within the Empire. The First Legion was considered to be even more so. This group of stormtroopers was used by Darth Vader during his operations, including one such mission when he and Grand Admiral Thrawn were sent by the Emperor to investigate a disturbance on the border of the unknown regions. The requirements to be a member of the First Legion were rigorous, and the commander and other officers within the Legion were held to incredibly high expectations. Those that disappointed Vader were either transferred out of the Legion, or more commonly, were executed by Vader himself. The commander of the First Legion during the years before the Battle of Yavin was a man named Kimmend. The caveat I mentioned earlier is that the First Legion was almost entirely composed of stormtroopers selected from the 501st Legion. Since that legion had consistently proven to be the best the Imperial military had to offer, their members were mostly the ones that were transferred to the First Legion's roster. This would make it seem like it's just an extra step for Darth Vader, and that essentially the 501st Legion could still be considered his personal legion because of the First Legion's selection process. But I think this actually gives us more of an insight into why Vader doesn't associate much with the 501st beyond this. It's the name and its association to Anakin that fully pushes Vader away from it. Firstly, he likely doesn't want to arouse suspicion regarding his identity, as maybe some would find it interesting that he would lead the same legion that used to belong to him as Anakin Skywalker. And secondly, the name itself is forever attached to Anakin, and he has always intentionally made a point of separating himself from that name. He has largely always tried to keep his two identities as two completely distinct personas, rather than one. Therefore, he tries to maintain a distance between himself and the 501st Legion. I don't think people would look too hard at Vader if he had his own legion and just happened to be acquiring most of his troops from the objectively best Stormtrooper Legion in the Empire. However, by the time of the Battle of Hoth, Vader had been more involved with the 501st, as he had led them and the First Legion into battle during the siege on the Rebel base. Additionally, more people in the galaxy had begun to actually associate the 501st with Vader more frequently around this time. I imagine this is due to the fact that the Galactic Civil War was ramping up, with increased rebel activity throughout the galaxy, and the time for ambiguity was over. Vader needed the best that he could get when fighting against the rebellion, and maintaining the distance between himself and the 501st had lost its priority. The 501st would continue to serve Vader until the Battle of Endor, where the Legion was wiped out along with many other Imperial troops. The status of the First Legion, along with their commander, Kimmend, is unknown, as there is no material detailing their actions during the rest of the Galactic Civil War following the Battle of Hoth, though it may be safe to assume that they perished at the Battle of Endor as well. That's all I have for this video. I hope it was informative and that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching.